What we've heard is very clear, that there was an invitation to attend the food aid location. As folk were making their invited way there, they were attacked somewhere between the beach and the coast road by drones. We heard by naval gunfire, we've heard by tanks.
Israeli forces, obviously.
Israeli forces, not by gangs or any other armed groups.
Well, let me put this to you. I'm going to read you a direct quote from the Israeli-backed humanitarian Foundation for Gaza. They say, and I quote, "We are aware of rumours being fomented by Hamas, suggesting deaths and injuries today. They are untrue and fabricated." What's your response to that?
That's nonsense. It's just nonsense. If they really believe that, they should come and look at our emergency department. It was full of wounded, the dead were deflected, and most of them were injured by gunshots. It is complete nonsense to say that nothing happened this morning.
And that's a crucial point, because it tells us something about the nature of the attack, that the majority of injuries presented to you this morning in your team were gunshot injuries rather than blast shrapnel injuries.
Correct.
What does that tell us?
Well, it tells me that they were aimed. They were aimed and they were deliberate. If there was naval gunfire or tank fire, then there would have been additional fragment injuries.
Now, the wider situation is that some aid is getting in from various organisations, not just the Israeli-backed Gaza Humanitarian Foundation. In terms of where you are and what your hospital needs, are you getting medical aid as well as food aid?
Absolutely not. We've seen no food aid, no medical aid, no aid at all. In fact, we received warnings that if we were to come again, we should not bring anything with us. We hear stories that aid may be coming in. We also hear stories that it's allowed through from the other side of the fence, but for the UN to collect it requires permission. And that permission, so far we understand, for one of the early convoys was delayed.
So on a Gaza operating theatre table, that must leave you with appalling decisions to make.
Well, it does. It's very difficult to treat people in the way that we know we could, even in these adverse circumstances.
And we must ask about your colleague, Hamdi al-Najjar.
Well, the bad news is that poor Hamdi al-Najjar died yesterday. He would therefore be the 10th member of that family. And his poor wife, Dr. Allah, who is a paediatrician, is left with one poor little boy who's currently in our ward under our care, little Adam.
What do you need in terms of equipment right now?
Everything.
Everything.
I think there is absolutely nothing that is not in short supply.
It is your view that, given that incredible shortage of, frankly, everything, as you say, it is the Israelis who are making it more difficult now to bring in medical equipment than ever.
Yes, I think they're the ones that control in and out. I'm too far distant from that end of the supply chain to know. All I know is that the humanitarian aid is as restricted as food, fuel, water, and everything else.
Graham Grimm, thanks very much for giving us your time. Appreciate it.
Thank you very much for having me.